Hey guys, it's Katie. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to my first book haul of 2020. You can tell I'm filming this on a weekend instead of a weekday. And you can tell I didn't plan to film this video today because of my hair, which has not been washed, but we're gonna go with it. I've been putting off filming this video because I was waiting for a package to get here in the mail. I was like, man, it's really taking a long time to get here. So I looked up the tracking info today and it says it was delivered like weeks ago and I just never got it. So I think I'm giving up hope on that. So we're just gonna carry on without it. So I have lots of books to show you today. Some I got from Barnes & Noble. Some I picked up from the library, some were advanced reader copies that were sent to me from the publisher. Got a pretty diverse little mix here. I'll have them all linked down below in the description if you want to go check them out. I went back and forth on whether or not I wanted to talk about the ebooks and audiobooks I've gotten lately because I tend to borrow those from my library or I get them through my Scribd subscription. Oh, hey you. Dean said, you've shown Max in your videos, but you've never shown me. This is my other cat, Dean, if you don't watch my vlogs. He's a little troublemaker, but he's a sweetheart. So anyway, I decided against showing you the ebooks and the audiobooks today, but if that's something you want to see in a future haul, feel free to let me know down in the comments. But today I'm just going to show you all the physical books that I have. So without further ado, let's get straight into the haul. The first book I have to show you is the only one on this pile that I've already read, and that is Serpent and Dub by Shelby Mayhern. This was our book club pick for January. I run a book club over on my Patreon page, and this was our first book club pick of the year. Obviously, this isn't a wrap up. This is a haul, so I'm not going to get into my thoughts on it. But basically, we're following our main character, Lou, who is a witch, and she kind of lives on the streets. She's a thief. Overall hooligan, very sarcastic and snarky. And our second main character's name is Reed, and he's a chasseur, which means he's like a part of the church and he's kind of pledged his life to eliminating all of the witches. Long story short, the witch and the witch hunter end up having to get married to get out of a sticky situation. And so in this world, there's been this ongoing war between the church and the witches. So we have all of that sort of political conflict and then also a hate to love romance, although the witch hunter is not aware that his new wife is a witch. I'm really excited to have our live show discussion on this book. I feel like there is lots to discuss with this one. Let me know down in the comments if you've read it and what you thought of it, because I know this book has been very polarizing in the booktube community as of late. I've seen very different opinions, so I'd be curious to know what you thought. The second book I have to show you, I picked up from Barnes & Noble, and I'm thinking I'm gonna make this our February book club pick, which is The How and the Why by Cynthia Hand. I've read a lot of Cynthia Hand's books in the past, and I really liked them. I really enjoy her writing style. This is about a girl who was given up for adoption because when her mother had her, she was a teenager, I think like 16 or 17. And the mother wrote her this letter, which has been in like the custody of the state until that child turns 18 and then she can read the letter. And so Cassandra, the child, comes from a very loving family, but as she gets older, she starts getting kind of curious about her birth mom and wants to go looking for her. This isn't the kind of book that I would normally read, but I heard really good things about it. I like this author, and I read the first 2 chapters and I was already super into it. So it took me by surprise. The hard-hitting contemporary genre isn't usually my thing, but I'm thinking I'm gonna like this one. Next, I picked up A Heart So Fierce and Broken by Bridget Kavner. This is the sequel to A Curse So Dark and Lonely, which is a YA retelling of Beauty and the Beast. And I really liked the first book. I either gave it a 4 or a 5 out of 5 stars last year. I hadn't even realized the sequel was out, and then I was in Barnes & Noble the other day and I was like, oh! The Barnes & Noble edition too, if you're interested in getting it, has all this cool artwork inside and stuff. I don't know if all of the books do, but this one says Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, so I'm assuming that's the exclusive part. If you don't know what A Curse So Dark and Lonely is about, basically there's this parallel world where a man has been cursed, you know, the whole like Beauty and the Beast thing, but basically he turns into a different beast every season and he's repeating it over and over again, and until he can find a girl to fall in love with him, he keeps turning into this beast and he's basically this mindless monster who's killing all of his subjects. And so he's gone through quite a few girls in his own land and has yet to be able to make any of them fall in love with him, and I think a lot of them actually ended up dying. So his right-hand man can travel between the worlds and he starts coming to our world to find girls to try and fall in love with his prince. This book has great cerebral policy representation. The first book ends on a little bit of a cliffhanger, so I'm excited for the sequel for sure. Now getting into some library books, I picked up Tell Me Lies by Carola Lavering. I saw this in Barnes & Noble when I was buying those other books and I almost bought it, and then I looked it up on Goodreads and I saw some iffy reviews about it and I got a little scared off, but then I saw it when I went to the library. I was like, well, there's no risk in me just like checking it out from the library and trying it, because I was intrigued by the synopsis. For one thing, this is technically in like the adult fiction section, but it sounds like it's gonna be new adult, and I've just been actively trying to seek out new adult books because for whatever reason, no publisher wants to market their books as new adult, even if they are new adult. So you have to search through the young adult and the adult to find the books that are actually new adult. So this book follows Lucy. She's going into her first year of college. She meets a boy who's basically bad news. The little tagline is everyone remembers the one. No, not that one, the other one, the wrong one. This alternates between Lucy and Steven, that's the bad boy's voices. And it starts off with their connection in college, but it spans the years to their post-college life in New York City. I'm excited for this. The bad reviews that I just kind of glimpsed at while I was in the store basically said both of these characters were insufferable, but I feel like I can get past that. Sometimes I enjoy reading books where I hate the characters, so that's not like a make it or break it point, but we'll see. I also picked up from the library The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager. I've been meaning to read this book since probably like September of last year. I read Lock Every Door by Riley Sager last year and I really loved it. And this one I've had every intention of reading, but every time I've like been ready to read it, the loan for the audiobook from my library expired or Scrib cut me off and didn't let me read anything else for that month because I'd already read too much or whatever. So I figured if I picked up the physical book, maybe I'll finally get around to reading it. Basically, this is about a girl who used to go to the summer camp and she played a game of Two Truths and a Lie with some other girls, and the other girls like go missing. So we're following our main character Emma 15 years later as she goes back to this camp to try and figure out what happened. She's now a rising star in the New York art scene, and when she goes back to stay at this camp, she's staying in the same cabin and everything. And the synopsis is very reminiscent of the most recent season of American Horror Story to me, if you saw that. So I'm excited about it. I've heard good things about it. Going off what I was saying about the other book, I picked up this next one. This was in the young adult section, but from what I've heard, it leans more towards new adult. You know, I'm just looking for my new adult. So I picked up The Gilded Wolves by ONJHKY. I believe this is a fantasy that's set in Paris in 1889. So our main character is a treasure hunter and his name is Severin. And so he goes on this quest to hunt down this ancient artifact that's important to this like all-powerful order or whatever. And he bands together an unlikely group. Kind of sounds a little bit like Six of Crows, not the plot-wise, just like that little part. So he gets an engineer with a debt to pay, a historian banished from his home, a dancer with a sinister past, and a brother in arms if not blood. Together they will join Severin as he explores the dark, glittering heart of Paris. What they find might change the course of history if only they can stay alive. So this sounds really fun. This sounds really cool. I've kind of had my eye on this since this was released and just never got around to reading it. But from what I've seen, people have been enjoying this book. So now we're gonna get into some arcs that I was kindly sent by the publishers. So first I have Little Secrets by Jennifer Hillier, and this is coming out in April from Minotaur Books. I believe this is an adult thriller, sort of like a crime novel. So our main character, Marin, had the perfect life. She was married to her college sweetheart. They have a loving family. Everything's going really well. And then one day their son, Sebastian, goes missing. He's never found, the case is never solved. Her and her husband rarely even speak anymore. She hires a PI and finds out that her husband is having an affair with a younger woman. And I'm not entirely sure, but it kind of hints that this younger woman was the one who kidnapped their son. So I'm really excited for this. You guys know I've been on a huge thriller kick lately. This sounds right up my alley. Then the remaining books I've got 5 books that Sourcebooks sent me. These are all coming out in either April or June of this year. I was talking about them in a recent vlog, and you guys, some of these I am so excited about. Like, I'm probably gonna start them in the next couple of days. First, we have Little Creeping Things by Chelsea Icasso. So this is about Cassidy Pratt, and when she was a child, she accidentally killed neighbors by like setting fire to their house, except she has no memory of this night. But the people in her town have like never let her live this down, especially this bully named Melody. So then, you know what happens. Melody goes missing, and Cassidy feels like she probably has some information that could help the police, but she's hesitant to step forward because recently she was talking about how badly she wanted Melody to just disappear, and she'd even planned on how to get rid of her. And then she gets a chilling text message from like an unknown number saying, "I'm so glad we're in this together." So now Cassidy is out trying to figure out what the heck happened to Melody and who the heck is texting her these creepy things. So this sounds really creepy, and maybe it's just the doll face on the cover that's giving me those vibes, but I'm really excited to read this one. Next we have The Truth About Keeping Secrets by Savannah Brown. This is also marketed as a thriller, but someone commented on that blog telling me this was more of just like a slow-paced mystery. So our main character's name is Sydney. Her dad was the only psychiatrist in this small town, so he knew everybody's secrets and then he dies. And the police don't really have any good answers for Sydney about what caused this car crash that he was involved in. And so she and this classmate named June start to get kind of closer as she's going through her grieving process. But it's clear that a lot of people are not happy about this new friendship. What is picture perfect June hiding? ... This sounds super fun. Again, right up my alley with the whole like thriller mystery aspect. This next one I think I might be the most excited about in this whole little batch of arcs. That is The Dark Tide by Alicia Jasinska. I'm so bad at pronouncing authors' names, I'm so sorry. But the comp titles for this are The Wicked Deep and A Curse So Dark and Lonely. And it's a gripping, dark fairy tale fantasy about two girls who must choose whether to save themselves, each other, or their sinking island city. So basically, there's this island city, and once a year a witch lures a boy to her palace to sacrifice in order to keep their city from flooding. And our main character, Lena, is convinced her brother is going to be the sacrifice this year and wants to save him. So she tries to enlist the help of this boy that she's secretly in love with because he's the only one who's ever escaped from the palace before. And so this last paragraph of the blurb is what really gets me. Lena offers herself to the queen in exchange for her brother. And so the two girls are waiting for the full moon, which is I guess when she does the sacrifice together. But Lena and the queen start like falling for each other, and now they got no one to sacrifice to save this city. So I'm really excited about this one. This one sounds really fun. Next I have The Burning by Laura Bates. This is a book about witches. I feel like there've been a lot of witchy books coming out lately. This one's little tagline is, "We are the granddaughters of the witches you could not burn, and we're not putting up with it anymore." So our main character Anna is in a new town. Interesting, new town, new school, new last name, and she's deleted all of her social media profiles. So apparently she was harassed in the past, so she's hoping to make a fresh start. She's doing this history project about a local woman who was accused of witchcraft in the 17th century. I'm not entirely sure what this book is about or even what genre is this, but it says this is a debut novel that is a harrowing look at misogyny through the centuries. It's a powerful call to action, reminding all readers of the implications of sexism and the role we can each play in ending it. So this is either gonna be epic and I'm going to love it, or it's gonna come across as like a message book and it's gonna turn me off a little bit. But obviously these are all issues that I 100% stand behind. So if the execution is done well, I think I'm really gonna like this one. And then the final book that I have in this haul is If We Were Us by K.L. Walther. This says Morgan Matson meets Becky Albertalli in the story of two best friends who are forced to confront truths about their friendship, identities, and relationships during their senior year at boarding school. So basically, it's set at a prestigious boarding school, and our two main characters, Sage and Charlie, everyone believes are meant to be, and it's just like a matter of time before they realize they're in love with each other. They've been best friends forever. But then a new boy shows up. His name is Luke, and he shakes things up on campus. Charlie, so one of the friends, is drawn to Luke immediately. And so then Sage, the other friend, is drawn to Charlie's twin brother, Nick. This sounds like a very complicated web. But Charlie is afraid of what others will think if he accepts that he has much more than a friendship with Luke. And Sage fears that if she lets things with Nick get too serious too quickly, they won't be able to last as a couple outside of high school. Charlie and Sage will need to rely on each other and their lifelong friendship to figure things out with the boys they love. So it sounds like it's gonna be a really cute, possibly emotional coming of age story. Two best friends, two boys, one complicated year is the tagline for this one. So yeah, those are going to be all of the books that I am hauling today. I will have links for all of them down below in the description if you want to go find some more about them. Let me know if any of these sounded interesting to you. I'm trying to think which ones I'm most excited about, which is kind of hard because I'm excited about a lot of them for different reasons. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new here, I would love it if you would subscribe and stick around. I put up at least 2 to 3 new videos every single week. All of my links down below in the description if you want to come follow me elsewhere, and I would appreciate it if you would give this video a thumbs up because that helps out my channel a lot. But other than that, I think I'll just see you guys in my next video very soon. Bye.
So hit me. So hit me. So hit me. First a confession. With you, I feel a connection. With